Well, doing these short videos might be a little easier to upload. Like, they're so terrified of this getting out that they use, like, I don't know, something that blocks you so you can't, you know, upload and shit like that. They try everything that they can, you know, like all high-tech stuff, okay? And, I mean, everything that they try to do, it backfires on them. They don't seem to realize it's their own actions. It is universal law. But these are people that have been doing these same kind of things, no matter the technology, for centuries. Go to, or if you have the app, Tubi, Tubi, it's a free like movie app. Download it if you don't have it, but look up Rasputin, and you'll see who that is, and watch my videos and see who these characters are. You can look them up on YouTube. Rasputin, what is it, King Charles II Habsburg of Spain, and then there's King Ferdinand VII and his grotesque member being his penis, okay? That's the Epstein. And King Charles II Habsburg of Spain, he one ball. Hitler only has one ball. There's a song. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. You can find them in history. It's literally Minority Report. And, you know, they do the same things with the same families against the same bloodlines. And they've been carrying this on for a long time. Gang stalking is very real. All these things that they do, and I'm telling my story to help others, because, like, is it you? Is my story sound like anything that you've been through? I mean, have you been attacked and people done things to you and you didn't really know it was coming from, but you knew it was happening? This is why you need to heal your chakras so that you're able to know and see what's going on. It's what makes all the difference. And no matter what adversity you're going through, here's the key. You keep praying to God. You do meditation. Like, say in the morning or something like that, you know, put God first, right? So do that meditation to where you are helping yourself to learn how to tune in to be able to hear, right? And you'll get to where you learn, you know, things. And, you know, think of what you're praying for, what you really want. What were your dreams when you were young? Things like that. What did you really want to do, but people were trying to stop you? Why? Because they're trying to take it from you, because they cannot create. Serpents cannot create. Okay? They've tampered with, you know, bloodlines. They do things, I mean, and go look up John Knox. Go look up King James. Go learn about him. You know, John Knox, the Geneva Bible, they called it the John Knox Bible. And then there was King James, who also knew John Knox. These people all knew each other. Go learn about the Medicis. King Charles II Habsburg, you know, the one of Spain, one baller. There's also Francis de Medici. I mean, this is just Francis de Medici, something like that. But you know what I'm talking about. And the Medici coat of arms, Pizzagate. It looks like a slice of pizza, but it's actually, the circles are to like represent pills, apothecary, because that's what they're involved in, poisons. They've been doing this for a long time. How do you explain Young Sherlock Holmes? There's other movies like it where, you know, people are getting poisoned and they're acting out because it hurts and they're being attacked. And you have that many people speaking negativity, doing spells along with that negativity. Have you ever watched Superman 3, I believe it is, where he's acting out like in the junkyard, you know, screaming and stuff like that? It's because he was being attacked. It was like an example of what it does. Or Ghostbusters 2. The negative versus the positive. What the negative does, what the positive does. And it wasn't just with the substance, it's with anything. Spiritual cleansing, look that up, learn about it. These words are gold. Learn about the metaphysical. If you're like, oh no, and trying to, run away from it, is that your program that they programmed you with? I grew up in, Bible thumper, let me tell you, because I noticed things in the Bible and pointed out to him. And next thing you know, it's changed. What? Yeah, that's not just a coincidence. Are you a coincidence theorist? There is no coincidence, and history repeats itself unless you learn. You really have to learn it. Learn characteristics so you can see who's in your life and around you. Okay? The Akashic records. If you heal your chakras all the way, every one of them, okay? All 7 of them inside. You have chakras that are outside too. But you heal them, then you're able to see and hear and understand better. If you heal your mind, then everything else starts to follow. And even though these people are doing all these things to stop, the truth from getting out, watch the move of God. Because how are they going to stop God? They don't seem to grasp that. But the move of God is beyond all, how can I put 3D understanding? There's 3D and there's 5D. So when you learn this, it makes sense. There's a movie called Making Sense, and it's not about the weird thing that they do, where it's about the people that have disabilities having extra senses because they've had no choice. Like Helen Keller, for instance. You have nothing else but the extra sense, and you have to learn from it, but you learn from it by, going through rough things, in order to learn. Like, baby falls in order to learn to walk, in that sense, right? And this is, people tend to think 3D and their life that they're in right now, not about their whole soul life, That's what you need to be concerned about. You do not want to be involved in this greed and materialism, which is what, that's what Satan wants, okay? And you have to think, okay, there's the Gnostic, scripture, there's other scriptures and stuff like that. But remember, history repeats itself, and, these things go on. But if the Native Americans used to tell stories, they didn't have it written down. That's, really important. When it's written, okay, which it can be written to help, but books are for reference, hearts for truth. But if they put something out there and everyone follows it and doesn't understand or grasp or whatever, it's manifested. They're manifesting it. I don't know if you can really quite grasp it. But these people are after people, clearly. You may not be able to see things the way they see it, but gematria is huge. Gematrix.org. It's just spelling the word matrix with GE in front of it and .org. And it's a word calculator, and you can put in your name, your birth date, spell it out instead of in number form, and see what comes up. And read it. Who's talking to you there? Put in other things. Just put in whatever comes to mind. See what you get. Are you seeing the negative? Are you seeing the positive? Interchange things that you see in there. Some things are set in there backwards. It's a matter of learning to see things forwards, backwards, inverted, which helps you to then see things further. You can see what evil's saying and what light. What there's dark and there's light, but then there's very wicked evil. So you can really see it. And truth is a frequency. If you love truth, it's a frequency you pull to you. You're magnetic. You're electromagnetic. And you can see in a electromagnetic way, if you can grasp that. And there are people that can talk to the dead. Souls don't die. So they can be waiting, in another dimension until they're born again, or depending on where they go. And then there's that show Utopia where they were coming up with a shot to make it to where people couldn't have children. Well, if serpents have a hard time having children, they need everyone else to. They do these things to hide their karma and their curses. They do all kinds of things. And they do not care who they hurt. They do not care. They have no compassion whatsoever. If all of your chakras, and I have a chakra video, I don't know, 3 or 4 back or something, and it really tells about all of them, but if all of your chakras are imbalanced, then everything's inverted. You're very backwards. Like your hate is actually, if your chakras were correct, is love. You see? So you have to look at it that way. When you learn these chakras and what they are when they're balanced versus imbalanced, it's like, a whole world opening up to you. You know what I'm saying? The new world, and learning how to manifest so that you don't need from someone else. That is world changing for everyone, right? And to trust God that He's got you. That's, Jesus walking on water has to do, water is emotions. So it's walking on emotions, like no more down in the emotions, in the lower chakras or the chakras, just meaning that they're all unhealed, right? It's life-changing for you, and it's how you get to, like Kim Clement had a song that was, I'm somewhere in the future and I look much better than I do now. Because you may go through a rough patch, but don't worry about it, because you'll come up the other side. Think of Shawshank Redemption. What did that man go through? He was accused and locked up. You can be locked up in a way like being locked down and not happy, because there are wicked people that are doing it to you. So if you have all your chakras healed and balanced, then you can see who's doing what, why. You'll know, and trust God, trust the universe, the true God. And who's the God of the Bible? Who wrote it? King James. Who wrote it before him? John Knox. The two of them together. These people have been in partnership for centuries because they're repeating the same history because they have not healed. I don't think you want to be like them and taking part of their karma, because they're into giving it to everyone. If things trigger you and hurt, it's because it needs to be healed. That was something, I had to learn. I had to learn all this stuff. It was very rough. Very rough. I mean, they give you anthrax like in your food and drink, along with God knows what else, like hemlock, all these kind of horrific things that kill people. And they were putting my food and drink so to kill me and to hurt the throat chakra. So I wouldn't be able to talk, to hurt the crown chakra, the third eye, anything that they can hurt. And it hurts all of them if you're, ingest it as well as breathe it in. But you can't survive, but you've got to have love. If you don't understand the full embodiment of love, these things believe that love is just sex. Like I said, go watch Tubi and watch Rasputin. I couldn't even watch all of it. I'll have to eventually watch it, but, know your enemies. You need to know who they are. You need to heal. You have to do this. If you're around wicked people, you have to do this like daily. You have to be so committed to it. Everything, your diet, your life, what you do. And trust me, when you make these moves, it changes everything, and you just keep going. You don't quit. You have a goal. You set a goal, which is maybe to get free of what you're going through and to be able to, take care of yourself and your family. To have a home, land, whatever. I mean, you can have land and grow food. This is how to learn how to become abundant in all ways. When you do this, you'll start to look at a different way of living instead of the way they do things. They like to have people in cities, suburbs, to where they're all together so that they can do this. Think of how things used to be way back before all this began, when people were just natives. Is it really the way that they tell us? It may have been for a period, but what about way before that? Not, like I'm talking about before Columbus and everyone came over and attacked the Native Americans or anywhere else that they had natives. They're about changing other people's way of life when they have abilities that they don't, because they have fear and they don't understand. If they would heal, they would understand, but you have those that are not going to do it, no matter what. You can't do anything about that. They've made a decision, but trust in God that He knows what He's doing, even if you cannot see it. It's still there. You just keep going. You don't ever stop. And when you're working with the divine, they help you. And it can be rough, but just don't stop. It changes everything. No matter what these people do, you're learning how to speak out and to see what's going on, what the truth is. And you may struggle because they attack you. It's horrific. It's horrific to go through that, because you can see why people that maybe out in this world have, kind of acted out because they were being attacked. Again, go watch Young Sherlock Holmes. I think it's by Spielberg, but there was all kind of signs in that too. Just some things that I saw. But watch that movie, and because they had, I don't like to say too much about it, but it's got a lot in it. Like, yeah, it really does. These movies I've mentioned, and throughout, these videos, you can really learn a lot, especially if my story sounds any part of what you've gone through. This is, these people that MK Ultra and do all these horrible things. There's a reason they're doing it. There's something they need from you. And you need to learn how to stop that and to have literally the full armor of God. And to find out who's talking to you, you'll find your spirit guides. Just keep going. You'll start seeing it. And yeah, you go to gematria a lot. If you can, learn it. And that will help you with your intuition. And maybe you're a psychic. Who knows? Or a psychic medium. Or these were new words I had to learn. A lot of it I had to relearn. But I didn't know anything about that kind of stuff. I seemed to understand, the natural or native way, to a sense. I just somehow seem to know, which is like a metaphysical sense. But I didn't know, this other side, right? Or that there was witchcraft and stuff like that. I knew that there was dark, evil people. I would see it. But when they're giving you autism, metals across the blood-brain barrier, giving you mini strokes and blood clots in your brain, and, with that, and putting it in food and spraying it in the air. I mean, people say, those people say, oh, conspiracy theories, because that's the narrative they're putting out there, so you won't hear it, so you won't believe it. Don't you understand what they're doing and why? It's so that you stay in their matrix that they put you in. It's time to get out and no longer be a part of their game. They're siphoning money off of everyone. You go and you work. What is it? Go back to the wage cage slave earner, or something like that. I don't know that I'm saying it right. See, that's the damage they did. But I'm healing. You know what I mean? It takes time. It may not always be instant. But you keep working at it because they're stealing your energy. They still have it. So you've got to learn how to call back your energy. But you want to make sure that you heal your chakras, because if you call back your energy too soon, you want to handle this carefully and follow all this stuff, research, so that you're going at the pace that your spirit guides are putting you at, so you don't get too ahead of yourself, right? It's important. And they'll lead you. They will lead you. But you want to get into gematria and that meditation and learning how to hear and know who you're hearing. Hate is a loud scream and love is a whisper. So when it's really loud, that's coming from who? When it's quiet, like a whisper, who's that coming from? That will help a lot. Because there's people that sometimes think that they're hearing from God, but they're not. So these evil, wicked people, they're hearing it loud. Yeah, that's not who you're hearing, right? But they do. They strike out to get people to lash out so that they can set them up for, oh, well, you have this problem, or we're going to give you this label, so now we get to watch you with hidden cameras and set you the fuck up. That's what they do. They're evil as fuck. I'm just calling it what it is. How many of you have been through anything like this? This is for you to wake up and don't have bitterness and anger and hatred anymore. Heal, learn the vibration scale and what that means, and that, if you're at this one, all you got to do is go up one. And then when you're there, go up one more. You learn this stuff and you'll see it. You'll be like, oh, okay. Even if they've done, damage to you. Well, going through this heals you. Even playing games that, help you with words, crossword puzzles on, the phone or whatever. Whatever it is, whatever your spirit guides are guiding you to, you will just feel this. You'll see something and you'll be, it's like you're drawn to it. So just trust, believe, and pray. God is very real. I don't care what other people say. I know. You see what I'm saying? When you know, right? That's what it's all about. It's about you. Let me tell you this. The J is young, right? So Jew actually is you. Get it? The J is young. It hasn't been around that long. And Jesus was actually Isus with an I, which is Jesus. Who that you're looking for, what is it? Something about that, that old country song, finding love in all the wrong places. The kingdom of God is within. Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. Why is everyone looking for they say kingdom spouse, twin flame, blah, blah, blah. And they're looking outward. If the kingdom is within and bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh, look inside. That's why you heal your chakras. They got, People don't know yet. So you want to do this first before you get in that kind of relationship, because then you will get a relationship that someone else has also done all this, right? Done all this work. You see, it changes everything. And it changes our world when people do this and heal. War games. Doesn't matter which one. But the point being, you know, the only winning play, right, is not to make a move when it comes to war and war games. That's where "do you want to play a game" comes from. Because it was pointing to, because you might see that in gematria, it's pointing into war games. There'll be things said in there, and, you know, at some point it'll be click. You'll think of a movie or song and go to it and read it. You know, read the lyrics or watch the movie and put on the caption. Right? Don't just watch it. Put on the caption. Really pay attention. You go into what is called a hermit mode. That's where everything changes. That's where the power is. You know? You would not regret doing this. Wouldn't it be wonderful if everyone decided to do this? Because that's what I'm seeing. I've been seeing this. Well, everyone that can. There may be some that, like I said, they're just too evil, dark, and they can't see their way out of it. But maybe they can. I don't know. It's up to God. It's up to the divine and the people to choose themselves. Because even if something bad happens, you know that you can heal. We get to move on to innovation and newer technology and be able to do things that we could not before. People aren't necessarily looking at it in the correct way. Having robots to do, like, you know, the jobs that people really don't want to do, you know, so that it frees people up to create, to manifest through creation, such as that can be art of any kind. You know, what do you truly love if you're not hurt, if you're not traumatized? That changes. What is it that David did before the Lord? Sang, danced, you know what I mean? Anything that was created. You know, played instruments, wrote lyrics. It's an example of what all can you do. It might, you know, maybe it's one thing that you love doing more than another. You know, acting, that's also. But when they've had wicked people siphoning off of people, they're literally stealing talents, and that's how they're able to do these things. That has to be shut down. It has to be stopped. Everyone has to be real and authentic. No matter who you are. That's the wealth, the richness, and the wisdom, and how you manifest what it is that you want. But you want to make sure it's truly your heart's desire. All right, guys. Take care.